name is Jones. How
Hello.
are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. My name is Kate. I'm going to be the nurse today. Hand sanitizer.
Do you consent to being recorded today?
I'm going to make a little video here. Do you consent to us recording you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, so as you know, the physician just came in and told you that the baby has been diagnosed with hypothyroidism. I just wanted to go over that with you a little bit. Do you know anything about hypothyroidism already?
I don't. I've never heard of that.
Okay, so our thyroid gland right here, as you can see, is it's part of our endocrine system, which controls a lot of our hormones and our metabolism, especially with thyroid. And so our pituitary gland, which is up there, it produces our thyroid stimulating hormone, which is essentially going to tell the thyroid to produce hormones to help regulate stuff in our bodies. And hypo means low. So that means that your baby's thyroid is not producing enough of the different hormones that it needs. So for instance, metabolism, talking about breaking down foods and temperature regulations, energy, fatigue, that's going to happen because everything's going to be slowed down. And so because of that, we have to make sure that we're regulating it. So we're going to have to be giving your baby medication to help the thyroid to develop correctly, because also what's important is our T4 and our T3 hormones. It helps to develop the brain. And so if we're not getting those hormones, then the baby's brain's not going to develop correctly, which could lead to some intellectual abnormalities. So we need to give them some medication called levothyroxine. Have you ever heard of that? Synthroid? Okay, so that's going to help to produce the right amount of hormones for your body. It's going to help the thyroid to function better. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for you, unfortunately, we don't have any levothyroxine that is in a liquid form. So we have to give it to the baby by crushing it, putting it into a bottle. Do you plan to breastfeed, or do you plan to use a bottle?
We were planning to breastfeed.
Okay, so what we can do is you can dissolve it in some water, put it in a syringe, and try to give the baby the medication that way. And you're going to want to give it to them in the morning around the same time and a little bit before, if you can, before they eat. But if you need to feed the baby, you feed your baby, you know. And then as they get older, you can put it in, baby food, feed it to them that way. And then as they progress, then as like a toddler, so they have chewable kind, so they'll be able to do it that way as well. And so we want to make sure that we're getting our lab values done. So the ranges for right now that you're going to be seeing probably on the piece of paper is going to be between 7.2 to 15.7 for our T4. And then our for the TSH, for that thyroid stimulating hormone, it's going to be between 0.6 to 7.3. So you're going to see those lab values, and then from there we want to maintain them in between then. And so for the first 6 months, we're going to have to bring the baby in once a month, and then progress to 3 months until 2 months for 6 to 12 months. And then after that, it'll be 3 months until they're about 24 months, then 4 months till they're 3, and then 6 months after that. But we'll be reminding you about that as well, so we can make sure that we're checking in. Am I going too fast for you?
Do you have any questions so far?
No. So is my baby going to be okay?
So your baby will be, I don't want to say that, I can't make any guarantees, but as long as we're monitoring those values and making sure that the thyroid is producing the hormones enough, they should live a regular life, and just making sure that we're keeping on top of it. That's why it's very important to make sure that we're giving that medication every single day. Now, when we're giving too much medication, though, it can put them into hyperthyroidism, because hypo is low, hyper, moving really fast, it's too much. So if your baby starts to, their heart rate goes really fast, or they're really over, like you, because you're going to be able to tell what their appetite's normally like. So if you're seeing that they're really, really hungry and they're also losing weight, that could be a sign that we're giving them too much of the medication. So we'll need to make sure that we contact our physician's office, and you call us and bring the baby in so that we can make sure that they're okay. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, is there any other questions that you have?
The only other question is, I know we were planning to move Does it matter where I get this medication, or is there anything special about the medication I need to know?
Most local pharmacies will have this medication. We can call into the pharmacy to check and verify to make sure that they have this prescription on hand for you to get filled that day. And if not, I'll find a substitute pharmacy that's very close within range that's adequate with your health insurance.
Okay.
Are there any other questions that you have for me?
I don't have any. Thank you for taking the time to explain that to me today.
All right, you're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.